Testing, testing. Testing. Can anyone hear me? Testing, testing. All right, sounds good. Testing. Okay, well, can anyone hear me? Testing, testing. All right, sounds good. Testing. Oh, this is gonna... Okay, there we go. All right. Hey there, YouTube. I'm Yukitsu. This is Yukitsu Times. Welcome to my channel. Welcome to a little bit of Stellaris streaming. I'm mostly just doing this today to see if I can get to work, make sure that I can get this functioning properly. But yeah, I don't really expect anyone to actually show up to this sort of thing here. I'm just going to actually also pull up this on my laptop so that I can also see if that's working. Because I don't actually have two screens, I just use my laptop beside myself, so let's see here. Okay. So we'll throw on that. We'll turn our volume off on our laptop here. And that should let me see chat, I think. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so yeah, anyway, Stellaris. It's a very complicated game that gets much more frustrating as you play it. As you can see, I do not own all the DLCs. The ones I'm missing here are the lithoids. I don't really think that's that much more interesting to play as something that is a rock than a normal species. I didn't get the Distant Star story pack. I didn't get the Humanoid Species pack, the Synthetic Dawn story pack. Machine entities didn't feel too different from the synths, although I'm told that they're actually really broken, so there's that. And I don't have the Planetoids species pack, since I don't really care about those sorts of things. It's just aesthetics. So anyway, yeah, like my last playthrough, we're just going to be doing an update of some sort of similar concept. And we're going to be creating something based off of one of my D&D campaigns where we went for a full communist run in D&D, which is not really how you normally conceptualize what you're doing in D&D there. So we're just going to call them elves, if I can actually spell, which I can't. Plural. Should just be, yeah. Okay, so our name list, we're going to go with humanoid of some sort. This is actually not the worst. This is probably the best one. None of them are really that sensible there. Now, if you're wondering like why this came up in a D&D game, like our D&D games are weird. Just you know, I could tell a story about that once we get through this, but I'll explain sort of my thought process of what's going on here. So we are going to pick this one not for any particularly in-game reasons, but because that sort of is, I think, kind of necessary. We're going to be playing this on the hardest difficulty, so there's going to be a little bit of an element of trying to keep this as good as possible. Sedentary, they're going to be sort of ones that like their personal home planets instead of wanting to move around a lot. We can also go for another one of these somewhere here. As another negative, we could probably afford to go with something pretty serious, like, let's see, what else is a -2? We could probably go with less amenities. I don't necessarily feel like we need tons of amenities necessarily. Yeah, I think that will do that, and that'll get us another 3 points and another 2 trait picks. So we are going to go probably for intelligent, since these people were scientists. They were, well, wizards and stuff like that. I think I've got my volume set to very, very low here, or non-existent for this. Let me just go ahead and open our sound settings. Volume mixer. Okay, there we go. I have this game running on the background sometimes and just turn off the sound sometimes. Anyway, as our last perk though, we get one more. I could just get rid of sedentary, which could actually be what we want to do here, because you don't necessarily need it. But honestly, we're not going to be resettling all that often, and population growth from immigration, it doesn't matter that much whether or not we're doing that. So I think we'll go for population consumer goods upkeep at minus 10% conservationist, because I tend not to get a ton of those. All right, so for our homeworld, I think we're just going to go with the standard Continental. That seems fine. Going to name our homeworld center, spelt correctly. And our star name, I don't know a good star name because most people just call it like it's you know, whatever the sun is in your language. We're just going to call it this. It's the great galactic foot of the galaxy there. Random is fine for this. And we're going to go for the, I think Avian City is the one that I like. It's a toss-up between like the alien and the molluscoid and the avian cities. I think I like the looks of best. Let's go for I think the molluscoid city. Now this is one of the more interesting new elements that they added in Federations, and that's the origin, what type of planet that you start on there. So we're probably going to end up going Prosperous Unification because that's the one that makes most sense from sort of an RP standpoint, and it's perfectly fine, but there are a lot of other ones here that are pretty interesting. Wouldn't mind doing some of them for other playthroughs, but in particular, like apparently, like I would imagine starting on a Shattered Ring world is pretty powerful, but I think we'll start with just this one here. Having 4 additional pops and 2 additional districts, though, is actually pretty strong anyway. And there's another happiness bonus for having Prosperous Unification that I think is permanent. In any event, though, let's continue forward a bit. For our governance and ethics here, I'm thinking of starting out Fanatic Egalitarian, but we could shift that later. Getting extra faction influence gain lets you sort of grow a little bit faster. If you really want to go crazy on that, you can go Egalitarian Xenophobes, which isn't really that appropriate for what we're doing here necessarily. I want to avoid going for Spiritualist this time because that sort of forces you down the Psionic path, although we might end up going down that route anyway. But for other authority, like what we probably want to consider, same thing for Materialist, which forces us to become robots, and Xenophile is potentially okay, but I don't necessarily need the trade value or the available envoys. We're not going for either of those, so I think we're just going to go Militarist. This does change us to a military commissariat, which nothing really that interesting about. Edicts cost 20% less for being a military commissary. If we look at the like other things here, that's just for being a democratic empire regardless. So, oh yeah, if we sort of change this representative democracy, blah, 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 and we could actually change ourselves from that to something like, say, an oligarchy, which gives us the same sort of thing there, or we could go for mega corporation, which gives us more admin cap ratio, as well as less empire sprawl, or more empire sprawl, sorry. So they kind of are, it's kind of a null bonus because you get more admin cap, but you spend more admin cap, or you gain more of a penalty if you go over it. So generally speaking, just try not to go over the stuff. And if we went for like no egalitarian and went full on fanatic authoritarian, dictatorially get another edict capacity. Same thing for an imperial. And then Hive Mind does sort of its own damn thing. So we're going to go with this fanatic egalitarian minor militarism. For our early game civics, what we want to make sure that we're doing here is stuff that's going to help out relatively early. We don't have a ton of stuff that we want to be getting for late game. And because of that, we want to avoid, for example, getting shared burden as much as I would like to get that, because it's not useful early game. What you're really looking for is shared burden in the mid to late game, where you might need to get a couple of the living... can't remember the name of the building that you get out of these. It's like a communal housing, I think, is what it is. And then utopian communal housing, which is really, really powerful for getting additional populations into a system. But you don't need it in the early game because you're not going to be having that much trouble housing people. And the +5 stability and pop demotion time are good, but they're not really necessary in the early game either. So what we're probably looking for here is something like... we could go for something like Diplomatic Corps. This lets us throw our weight around a little bit in the early game, even though we're probably still not going to be able to do anything in the Congress. We could start off with something like, say, Oh, did we not? Here we go, democratic. That's why I was missing. Okay, so we could start off with parliamentary system, which I probably am going to do. This lets us get more influence gain, so we'll have a plus 75% faction influence gain, which is gigantic, and it'll let us sort of spread and colonize stuff a lot faster. And what we're probably going to want to have in addition to this is probably something like Beacon of Liberty or Byzantine bureaucracy. Beacon of Liberty is a really good way to get a lot of extra unity early game, but you could go for some other ones here that are going to be a little bit more specific, like merchant guilds. If I thought that I was going to have a bunch of merchants, this is only going to give us +2 because I can't get additional merchant jobs early game. So it's not really that useful. Could also go for like warrior culture, but duelists, like if you had a regular entertainer, you'd be getting unity anyway. So the thing that this adds really is naval capacity, which is pretty good, but they cost alloys, which is pretty expensive. So we're going to go with Beacon of Liberty here just for that extra unity gain in the early game, and then we'll switch both of those out later on into something else there. Yeah, worker is fine. The empire's name is Union. I think United is the proper adjective. I can't remember. I'm very poor with words like adjective. Anyway, let's do that. Secondary color, we'll switch to green. And we're going to go with the sort of Celtic knot kind of thing that I think exists somewhere in here. Is that human? Domination? Corporate? Ornate? Might be ornate. This one. That looks okay. Alright. So for our ship appearance, same sort of thing here. I kind of don't like the mammalian ships. They look a little bit blocky and a little bit ugly. I'm going to go with the avian ships in this particular case. Alright. And in this particular case, we go with this thing. This fellow will die probably before anything impressive happens, which is fine. Commissar General, that's also fine. Alright, so that's going to be our faction for now. Go ahead and save that, and we'll go ahead and hit done. So this brings us into the options for our game here. Standard medium planet with standard basic settings here for the most part. We've set it to Grand Admiral difficulty. I could do scaling difficulty. Like, scaling difficulty theoretically would make it make more sense, where the AI would become more difficult as time goes on here, but I don't know if they start, like, I'm not sure how this actually works. Because if they start off with all the bonuses that they normally have and just get increasing bonuses as the game goes on, it's a little bit, like, that becomes a little bit absurd, because the AI starts with such a huge advantage on Grand Admiral that it becomes untenable to, like, if they make it so that they're scaling such that they're never viable to fight against, then I'm not necessarily sure. Like, so we'll have that set to no. I'm guessing that's not how you're supposed to do that. I have turned off advanced neighbors. I don't really like the idea of having some factions that are just like all like starting next to a fallen empire is fine because they'll be passive until you can catch up a little bit. But if you start off next to an advanced neighbor, you're basically stuck beside somebody that is just as aggressive as a normal AI, and since they've got like an overwhelming advantage against you, they'll probably just kick your ass like right away. All right, and here we go. So, yeah, this is going to be our start. Let's take a quick look here at the world map, or galaxy map. So this stuff up all here is pretty much secure. Don't have to worry about that at all. Then we've got a bunch of connections out here. Probably build out to there or something like that. Maybe build out to there, build out to here. And then we'll see if we can get any further than that. So let's check out what we've got for starting technologies here. I'm going to go for the research station output. Or no, wait, this is the wrong thing. That's not the... Okay, yeah, so we'll go with the research speed 5%. I thought that was a different thing there. For this fella, we're going to go for, I think, the planetary unification for that +2 monthly unity. As always, like, we also gain extra planetary unification or unity from the extra percentage that we get there. And then down here, I'm going to go for the... I like the fact that this popped early. That's actually really strong. Like, getting this earlier I feel is actually really, really good, but I think we're going to go with the research ones because it matches that and we'll be able to research it a lot faster. For now, though, let's go ahead and get this fella and find our mineral depot. Now, something, I wasn't the person who figured this out or anything like that, but apparently you can take every last bit of your resources at the start of the game that you're not going to need right away and sell them all and get just enough minerals to purchase a building in your capital. And we're not going to be using those just yet, so let's go ahead and do this. And now we can go ahead and start off with another science lab, which is going to be like a really expensive sort of thing to be purchasing right off the bat, but it's pretty worth it. Starting skill here is carefree, so we're going to be able to more quickly scan around us. I'm going to start by just looking for the potential starting colonizable worlds, and we're going to try and immediately go out here and get ready to colonize those if we can. And we'll set it to fastest speed for a little bit here. We're just going to pause it at the end of like each time something happens. Okay, so nothing in that sector. And your guaranteed plants, as far as I know, are forced to start within a certain distance of you, and I think it's only like 2 jumps away, so like any of these are viable starts for our starting planets. And let's have you... I wish that the little thing for clicking on these sectors was a little bit more big. So kind of gotta get like right over that. Okay, nothing up here. And when I say nothing, I don't mean nothing. I mean like nothing that we can use right away. Let's get another science ship.
Complete.
And let's build this research station. Alright, let's slow this down a tiny bit here. So I should have enough money for another scientist at this point in time. Well, definitely forgetting this. I'm going to get you for now, and then I'm going to probably get rid of the scientist later. We're going to have an exploration down here. I don't like this kind of splits, but it's what you got to do. It's what you got to do. And there is our science lab. We'll want to save up for the next building along this chain here. Although, admittedly, we probably don't want to get an upgrade for this home sector just yet. There we go. It's a 14 size home world, expandable world. It's not really that great, but at least it's not size 10.
Construction finalized.
Alright, got all of that done here. We might expand out to here right away to try and get down a colony as quickly as possible.
Anomalous readings detected.
I'm gonna leave this be for now. But let's check, oh, actually. Gonna research anomalies right after that. The reason is that that's, I think, on the planet. For our first ascension perk here, going for expansion. Nothing over there. And just a little bit short. I might want to actually, no, we've got plenty of that sort of stuff. Okay, so I have to think about at this point in time is, what kind of planet would this be? Doesn't look like it's a very good one. We can get 2 more mining districts, and then this one's just for general districts. It's gonna be probably something like a refinery planet or whatever. It doesn't look like it's got a great set of natural resources on it or anything like that, which is a bit unfortunate. Quite often your guaranteed plants are kind of crap. Alright, so the first league is the precursor here. I don't remember what the first league did.
Shitlog updated.
I don't think they were that... I don't think they were that good. Alright, so we got 416. What we're going to do with this is build another alloy foundry. I might want to build the hollow theaters first, but I think we want to build that when we hit 35. You get a new housing slot like every 5 populations as it goes up here, so that's sort of how that works. Yeah, I'm gonna go with that. Nope, still nothing. Okay, I'm gonna start just surveying stuff, even though, actually, you know what? I'm going to start surveying a pathway out towards our choke points that we want to sort of go for. And this is kind of our longest route anyway, because we want to get up to like, maybe even up to... No, probably like here for sure, is all we'd want to guarantee. Alright.
System resources analyzed.
Yeah, we're not doing a challenge that high for a while, I don't think. Wait till we've got a much higher level scientist. Or we could bring back our carefree scientist to go and do that later, so... Okay. So I have got the resources to build our starbase and then build our colony. Ooh. Alright, that more quickly finishes that for us. Okay, we'll explore here, then we'll explore over here.
System resources analyzed.
And if I started with only one core planet for some reason, I probably am just going to restart the game.
Construction finalized.
You're supposed to have 2 guaranteed planets within a certain reach, but I think what can happen sometimes is that the game doesn't necessarily build a hyperlane to it. So if you start off like this, maybe like it thinks that this is reachable by us and puts it all the way over there, but I guess it wouldn't be too bad if that's the case. Maybe it's also possible for it to be 3 jumps away from your capital, and it's just rare for that to happen. But from what I've seen, it's almost impossible for, you know... I'm pretty sure that you're supposed to start with 2 planets within this sort of radius. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so there is an ocean world and an alpine world. No, I am missing a continental. It could also be here. I'm actually going to jump over here.
Complete.
Okay, so Governor gained a level for our additional... I'm getting extra admin from our general, or our Governor General right now, but... Nope. Alright, I might actually want to restart this, just because not having that extra planet near your capital is actually pretty bad. Okay, interesting. I'm wondering if, like, I'm just wrong about the distance that it can go. But I don't feel like I am, because every other game I've had that's been 2 continental planets within 2 jumps is how that I feel like is supposed to go. Alright, so this one's a little bit worse in the sense that I have a weaker upgrade to our mining station here. And we have different government sort of bonuses here. So starbases cost like less here, and outposts cost less to build here, which is actually really okay in the early game. But it does mean that our mining platforms are going to cost a little bit more. Yeah, so this is what I thought we had access to last time here, and it's what we're going to get probably. Just because I don't really have the bonus against blue lasers. For here, this is the one I've got a bonus to. It's not really my favorite early game bonus, because I usually don't bother getting this for quite a while. I probably want to get this regardless and try and change out that scientist if at all possible. And I kind of want to get powered exoskeletons just because it might lead us onto robotics. Okay, and similar sort of thing there. There's some other stuff that I actually forgot to do anyway last game, so let's go ahead and do that. This is kind of exploity, but I'll show you guys something that you're supposed to do at the start of the game, and I just forgot about it. Alright, so research labs. But one of the things that we should do here is go into our population here, and what we're going to do is tell our security enforcers to go look the other way for a short while here while we engage in some governmental corruption here. So while they're not looking, we're going to go ahead and negotiate with the crime lords there, which is going to increase our stability by 10%, which increases a bunch of our stats in terms of production and stuff like that. So we'll be producing a bit more, basically due to shady underground deals. And our Explorer, same sort of perk as last time. That's interesting. So we're just going to do a quick ring around the rosy here. And try and figure out what's going on as far as the planets go. When you've got like a sort of contiguous ring around your homeworld, I find it much more likely that both of the colonizable worlds will be in that ring. But they could be like up here or some nonsense like that. Probably colonize those 2 choke points there. And I think we colonize out to this choke point here. On this difficulty, you sort of have to be very, very concerned about where the choke points are in the game, because you quite often find yourself in a situation where you're like getting kind of wrecked by the AI in the early game wars, so you have to have the ability to fight them using your stations, which is not ideal. I'm not going to set it to the fastest setting this time, unlike last time, because it was going a bit too fast for me last time. Like, what I would normally do is just mash pause constantly.
Construction complete.
Alright. There we go. And as much as 2 research sounds appealing, I'm pretty much not going to worry about that for a little bit. It's always going to be the last one I get out of the resources in sector there. Alright, there we go. Continental World 13, so it's a little bit worse than last time. I could actually go ahead and try to get like the full exploration first, and then hope that like the other continental world is going to be better and bigger, but not really going to put too much hope on that sort of thing. It's going to be a little while before we can actually afford a colony regardless, but might be better for me to save up my points here so I can get this station as soon as I finish surveying here. There's not a lot of stuff here to survey. Yeah, that's fine.
Construction finalized.
Let's start moving you out here. And let's check here. I'm not going to have enough resources to colonize for a bunch of months here anyway.
Anomalous readings detected.
Ooh, and a strategic resource there. Wait, what's the... I should not have skipped that. Alright, fine, whatever. Yeah, so all there is left is a moon and a planet. That's all they've got to scan left. I probably could have built this platform here before that was necessary, but after that, we'll explore. Explore, explore. I guess it is kind of nice being able to build
Anomalous
these
readings
orbital
detected.
platforms early for cheaper. Let's see here. The hard part's going to be consumer goods, but I can sell some food to get that if I need to.
System resources analyzed.
Alright, build that starbase there. And we're just about at that point where I can build another alloy foundry. I could also be using that to build consumer goods,
Situation log updated.
which could be a good idea as well. Alright. And it kind of used to, I'm pretty sure, cost influence to like colonize planets, but not anymore.
Construction complete.
Alright. So, let's head over to the market here. I want to get that colony down pretty quickly. And we're just going to buy like 50 of the consumer goods and 50 of these, and that'll get me enough to set down a colony. Oops, not quite. Okay, right, that's by 25s. So we still will buy 50 of these, but just have to do it like that. There we go. Going to go ahead and adopt that. Getting the colony down faster means that I get the additional colonist population early anyway, so not waiting for our unity to kick in really is perfectly okay by me here. I'm kind of wondering why I'm only getting 16 though. Did I not put my cop back in? No, I did. Pretty sure I'm supposed to be getting like 19 or something. Oh well. Anyway.
Construction complete.
Let's head back here, I suppose. It takes a long time for this thing to finish building anyway, but I'm pretty sure that this has to finish before. Like, I have to get this before I land the colony ship. I'm not entirely sure. Oh, we might not have that close by a thing. Alright, how's our science, or how's our alloys doing for that science ship? I could try to delay this by a couple of months by building the science ship in between, but... Oh. I'm glad the importance of consumer goods by governments from large, unobservable markets has survived well into the future. Yes, Ryan Johnston. Do apologize if I took a little while to get to your comment there. What's actually really weird, I think, is that the way that the market's supposed to work in the early game, is that it's actually an internal purchase, so there is actually a private market on your planet, and you're playing as the government. So what you're doing is you're going to the private sector and buying it from them, which is kind of weird if you've got like shared burden and stuff like that, where hypothetically there is no private one, but maybe you're going to like the workers' communes and asking them for stuff. But yeah, like later on in the game comes a galactic market, but for now it's supposed to, I think, be representative of an internal. I think I might actually say that. Yeah, the galactic market has not been founded yet, so we only have access to the internal market. So what's happening is we're just going to like the internal companies that we have access to, and we're asking them for stuff. So I guess they thought of that, but like it's still a weird thing, because you'd think that in an emergency situation the government could do that, or different government types. Like if you're a strict authoritarian, why wouldn't you just be able to like seize all of the alloys from the private enterprises on your planet? And where are they getting like the billions of things that they've got on their planet? It's really weird. Alright, so what kind of planet is this one? This is a 19 size one, so that's actually a lot nicer. Alright, so we got a new science ship here. Very little of Stellaris, so I was unsure of how you actually came up with viable resources, especially when you can just nationalize. Yeah, I think it's really weird that they can just nationalize everything. And, you know, don't. But at the same time, like, it's probably fine. Alright, so at this point, I probably want to figure out what's going on towards our... capture points here, or not capture points, but the points where I want to colonize stuff. Or not colonize, but you know what I mean. Yeah, like I think as well, it's not just that I think even if you did play this a lot, there's probably a lot of people who just lost over that bit of text there and didn't see it. And even then, like, it doesn't make a ton of sense. Ooh, archaeology sites. I love getting archaeology sites. I do a lot of stupid stuff in this game when I'm playing it sometimes to get archaeology sites. Like, I will expand a way too big of an empire with uncontrollable borders just to get access to archaeology sites, which is probably... Because you have to have, like, an observation post above it to actually get the archaeology site, so it has to be within your empire, which is really stupid. Like, you'd think you could send your archaeologists out and they'd be able to do whatever. I forgot to check what my it's energy infrastructure. I have to build 2 electronics districts. That's kind of unpleasant. Just barely enough room for that. Okay, well, I'll start working on one just because I've got the time and resources for it. No,
anomalous readings detected.
Leave that be for now. Okay, so I want to check on my scientists later to get... What I might want to do is get a 3rd scientist, because our science right now is not the greatest. So what I could get is extra experience gain, or I could get anomaly research speed. We already have an anomaly research speed, so once you're rolling in credits, I like actually getting rid of scientists and just rolling it down until I get something that I like better. I'm going to go for consumer goods first, and then alloys second. Or third,
System
I mean.
resources analyzed.
Alright. So at this point in time, what I probably want to do is go up here and figure out what's going on so I can... I want to be able to make a string of outposts that go, like, across this way and allow me to pinch off this sector here. So once I get that done, maybe even out to there, and then another one up to here, we're pretty much going to be in a good spot for figuring out where we're going to be building our stuff. So, meantime, we do want to get another outpost out to here just so that we can colonize. Oh, more of this. Hopefully, I don't know if this counts. I don't usually manage to slam down my colony before I get that, so we'll find out if I get 2 colonists here or if I start off with 1. That'll be interesting to know. I've got 7 years of accumulating stuff before I have to worry about that. I'm probably just gonna get energies or whatever. Yeah, in these sort of games, actually, it's always really weird how it doesn't matter what government type you're playing, they still always have the same sort of power over society, which is really strange. Especially in games that allow some form of anarchism, because, like, if you're any form of anarchism, you should be able to do a lot less as the player. Like, a lot more of it should be automated. Not all of it, but, because there is supposed to be a state, but it's just very diminished. Okay, well, this is pretty bad. The reason that this is pretty bad is that is another explorer, and if they start colonizing out there before me, then I'm going to have a hard time getting to where I want to be. I'm going to actually want to start moving out this way with our construction ship here and getting that one pinched off first, because otherwise we're going to have a rough time. It just locks off too much of the galaxy from me. Now I have to try and guess if they came from this way, or if they came from this way, or if they're just right freaking beside me, because they might just be right beside me. This isn't as important. I've got probably more time to get this stuff, but we're supposed to pretty much be playing this as a tall empire, as is the current meta from my understanding, although my understanding of this game is not great. So yeah, we'll see what we can manage here. Alright, and that's going to fulfill our mandates and get us a bunch of extra unity. I know the minor mandates give me the unity immediately, but I can't actually remember the other one. The Voltum Star Assembly. What did I get for this one? Is this the one where I get...
Scientific progress attained.
Can't remember which one this is, actually. I'm going to start working on the geothermal fracking here. Our minerals are not looking that great. Our upkeep of them is going to keep going up and up and up, so...
Anomalous readings detected.
Leave that be for now. Okay, only a few more things for us to research here. And then we'll immediately slam down an outpost, even though it's going to cost us more influence than I would like. Because we don't have the bonuses yet. Bonus from technicians. I think we go with the capacity subsidies instead. I don't like any of my scientists right now, really. Alright. So you might actually want to make down here our primary... Ooh, I just realized something here. Yeah, hello. Ooh, they're also... They've got exactly the same political opinions as we do, so we might actually be able to talk to these guys. Alright, where's their empire? Okay, so I have to get up here real badly. I'm going to send a diplomat to these guys, though. Because, like, there's a very high chance... I'm going to agree to a commercial pact here. There's a very high chance here that I can actually form a federation with them, because we have the exact same government policies here, exact same ethics. A research proposal, I'm okay with that too. I'm okay with any proposals you've got here, my friend. Okay. This is going to cost us a bunch of influence, which means we're going to grow slower for a little bit, but That's kind of okay since we've got the discount for now. These are both really good right now. I'm going to go with the population growth, though. I do want new scientists, though. All right, so this was important to get because it lets us expand out to potentially here before they can. And if I can get out to, like, here... So these two, I'll have control of this little corner of the galaxy a little bit more concretely.
Construction complete.
So at this point in time, it's really a matter of I need to keep leapfrogging in front of him to make sure that I get these points. So this is the key one first. Yeah, this game is one of those ones where it's just really strangely made in a lot of ways. Oh, what do you... Non-aggression pact? Yes. So I'm actually going to open Federation as my second policy or whatever. I need another construction ship. Independence guarantee. I don't have to do anything about that. Okay. I could guarantee their independence as well, but that would stifle my influence gain as well. Certainly seems like a much more in-depth version of Civ Beyond Earth. This is really in-depth, yeah. Actually, I'm not going to do a New Life. I'm going to do Reach for the Stars since I have to build these fast. Like, Paradox games are sort of known for being, like, ridiculously opaque and having a lot of jank going on. And being basically just looking at gigantic lists of spreadsheets, which is not exactly an unfair characterization of Paradox games. I really like them, but you have to like that kind of game to get into that. The problem with this one is that, like, my wrist will literally give out when I get towards the end game, and I've got like 100 planets that I have to administrate, and I've decided to do the stupid thing of building additional planets in the space that I have, like just extra habitats and ring worlds and stuff like that, and I have to administrate those as well. It's brutal. On your wrist. You know, if you've got arthritis, this game will literally kill you. Alright, so we've built up those things. Did I actually get... No, I'll get this at the end of the month. Okay, or at the end of the term. Fine, fair enough. Alright. Actually, Beyond Earth is one of those games that's a bit weird, because I kind of really wish it had done better. I could actually potentially...
Transmission incoming. Discourse anticipated.
Alright, this is going to be expensive, but I'm going to actually go for it. This is going to cost us, like, all of our friggin' influence. We're going to be losing 1.25 of it. Democracy 3. I haven't actually played Democracy 3, but I kind of want to.
Construction
Or just any game in that series. That seems like an interesting one to play, but I just haven't gotten around to it. I have, like, you know, a specific limited budget for games that I buy, and I try to generally... Yeah, I know it's a governmental... It's basically like a spider web of policies that you can do that all, like, interact with each other. I actually really like it conceptually, it's just I haven't had the time to play that sort of game. I would really probably actually like doing that, not necessarily for good reasons, but because it's like, I wonder how dysfunctional a government I can make.
Anomalous readings detected.
I'm gonna leave that be for now. The thing is, if you're controlling the territory that you're exploring, you can always go back into these and... works with the American government regularly. It's actually pretty close to how things happen. Oh, cool. That, I'm not sure, wait, like, it as in the systems that are used are similar, or do you mean, like, the way that people actually play it? Because I don't think that the way that people actually play that game is very, It feels like a lot of the time... Oh, that is not good. They're demanding I become their vassal. Yeah, so that... I'm not necessarily entirely sure that I feel like...
Planetary worksite established.
Oh, okay, so if you choose... Because, like, a lot of people play that game very dysfunctionally, from my understanding. Even if they're trying their best, like, I think there's a lot of people who sort of play that game and it does not go well. Alright, so gain the ability to inhabit that planet as well now, because we've got some fellas over there. Gonna leave that be for now. I'm gonna have to build some military ships.
Resources analyzed.
Yeah, so this demand vassalization is going to be a problem. It might mean the end of us very early if they decide to go to war with us immediately because of that. We need alloys. I'm going to buy 250 of them. Yeah, the problem is I would probably try to play that game not as an actual democracy, but like just as the most corrupt thing as you could possibly imagine. I'm going to actually survey this system first. Go for this cutoff point before the other one, because this is the one that I have to fortify here. If I build an upgraded station here, I don't think it's going to be able to actually survive them attacking me early on. So if you are playing democracy, and that is actually how that sort of works, would you generally try to play that as an actual democracy, or do you generally try to play that like as some sort of weird thing, like just pretending that you're doing the exact opposite of what you would do for work? Because I can't imagine playing a game in the same way that I do my normal job. I would try to do something stupid. This is probably also why people should not allow me to run any form of society whatsoever, actually. So I would probably try to mess with it more than I would try to help it. I don't know what I just skipped through.
Construction complete.
Alright, so we can colonize this planet as well with our core things here. Now, this system, not that habitable. It's got a savanna world and a tomb world. I can do desert worlds, but not savanna, but it's not too far off. Yeah, I mean, I guess that's fair. I would definitely try to, if I worked in government in any way, shape, or form, which no one should ever let me anywhere near government, I would definitely find that it's more funny to play it differently than how I would do it normally. Not necessarily sure if that's a good way of thinking, but that is definitely how I think. Alright, so I've got a bit of a problem here. I am very short on influence and influence gain, trying to get these guys as friendly as possible for me. There is a decent chance that they will try to just friggin' kill me. And on this difficulty, if that happens early, I'm kind of screwed, so that's going to be an interesting sort of thing there. If I sound a little bit more quiet when I'm trying to like read comments or respond to comments or whatever, that's because I've got my laptop over here instead of a second screen, unlike a normal YouTuber. And my laptop is on the opposite side of my setup from my microphone, so I'm literally looking away from my microphone to look at comments, which is probably something I'll adjust in future setup now that I've realized that that's a stupid idea. Alright. Speaking of bureaucracy, like, we're almost out of our admin cap, so I'm going to have to build something about that in a little bit. Not right now, but eventually. You can go over your admin cap, and it's not actually that big of a deal. I'm thinking now we go for the holo theaters. We're at negative amenities, so that is something we're going to want to have. It's going to take me how many months for this?
Readings detected.
Well, I've got a bit of time since he has to colonize here first. So that's actually not that big a deal. Ooh, this planet's got dust caverns. I think there was something on this planet as well. Actually, no. What was the hidden resource that I found earlier? Crystalline caverns over there. Yeah, well, actually, I have plenty of room on my desk. It's just that I'm an idiot, so I just... Like, I always have my microphone on this little corner on the right of my desk here, and it's... Because of it, like, that's just habit, but it's a tiny corner where there's nothing... Like, it would fall off my desk if I pushed it even a tiny bit to the right. Are these guys highly adaptable?
Our research has progressed.
Interesting. Yeah, so it's kind of that state where if I tried to do anything in addition to what I've got here, it would just fall off. So I'll probably just move my microphone to the left and then keep talking to the right just out of habit. Which will be a different issue, but it'll be a very on-brand issue. Yeah, so what's going to happen eventually is that you're going to get factions forming, and because of the build that I went, I'm going to be very good at gaining additional influence through factions, but it won't happen until at least 10 years have happened. Odd Factory, this one is a weird event. What happens with the Odd Factory is that you end up with a factory that you can work on the planet that's going to be... It's not bad, like, strictly speaking. If I go over here, we can figure this out here, and it produces 4 of our alloys if I'm working it, which I don't have a population for. I did start off with 2 population here, it looks like. But because it is this weird haunted factory, people sort of disappear and get killed as they sort of work it, so... Yeah, it's going to be a bit quiet, I think, as far as what I'm capable of doing for the next little while here. Well, we got people who are not working. How's that possible? They're a specialist. They should be working in this then. How come they're not auto-populating that job? Interesting. Well, either way, let's start working on a couple agriculture districts.
Discourse seeding in progress.
Yeah, the labor laws in this game are kind of weird. They're fairly limited in what you can do, unfortunately. Basically, the way that sort of works is you go into your policies here, and you just tell them, like, very, very limited things here. It's not super easy to make things, like, really different as far as how your labor laws work there. Basically, it just tells you, like, you're going to be paying the people who are in different stratas of the economies different amounts, and that's about the limit of what you can do. Like, if we go over to our species manager here, we set our default rights, and we can just say that they have full citizenship, and they live in decent conditions. I could go social welfare, but it's a bit expensive right now. I can't really afford it. I'm surprised that you're allowed to have, like, social welfare with slaves. I'm not allowed to because I'm playing egalitarian, but if I was playing something that was not full egalitarian, I would have that sort of option. But, yeah.
Scientific progress attained.
Kind of want to move this guy up to here to get some of these resources.
System resources analyzed.
Nope. Pop growth speed. I don't like any of these options, actually. These are all terrible. I'm gonna go with the cheapest one, just try and get rid of it. Yeah, what's weird about what I'm doing here is that it's like noon on a Wednesday, so this is the not ideal time to be doing a stream, I'd imagine. I would bet most people would try to do their streams on a different day other than a Wednesday at noon. Strangely enough, though, Wednesday is my only day off. I work 6 days of the week, including on weekends, so let's go over here. Some rare crystals down here, it looks like. Okay. Yeah, the way that labor laws actually affect this game is kind of weird as well. I'm not 100% sure, like, if they model too much. Alright, that's a natural wormhole. Those are always really good to try and push out to, because it does mean you can heavily defend the natural wormhole. FCC documentary, that doesn't sound fun. Although if it's what you do for work, you must have some passion for it, so I'd imagine that's not as bad for you as it would be for me. I'm actually not from the United States, so I don't know 100% exactly what all that means, but I'm imagining that you probably shouldn't just tell me what exactly they're about, though, either. That would probably not be something that you should do, so I won't pry too much into what that's about. I wish I could build this before the election in a certain sense there, because I'll lose the 15% discount after the election, but it happens on the... Yeah, it'll happen at the end of this month, so that's unfortunate. Yeah, you don't get it. That's fair, actually. Okay, so we got our district's mandates fulfilled, so we get 159 unity. Get our next little bit here. So we can reduce our starbase upkeep, or we can reduce our empire sprawl. I'm going to reduce our empire sprawl, try and get it down closer to 50. which is kind of nice to be able to do there. Who got elected? We've elected previously our envoy. Okay, so I think we automatically get a new envoy. Yeah, so that is a new envoy that we've got there automatically. Every other leader, if they die, you have to manually replace them, which is really weird. It is how this game just works, but that's never been my favorite thing about those, because you end up losing a whole bunch of these guys and they just die off in droves. Let's see, these guys are adaptive. Yeah, that is their trait. Cool. Okay. So I can start building colony ships with those guys from that other group with the migration treaty and start colonizing these other planets here, including the Savannah world. So what do these guys actually naturally live on? Oh, it looks like they naturally live on Savannah worlds, and I think I've sniped one of their guaranteed starting planets. No, they've... Oh no, they got them. They just were lucky and had another one rolled up next to them, so... that's... not actually that bad. Alright. Well, either way, I hope that our factions start popping soon. Because of what we are, we're going to have a militarist faction and a... well, it's basically just a militarist faction and the democratic faction, which are pretty okay factions. The democratic ones are probably one of the best ones in the game because it's really easy to pull people over to like the democracy faction. And the stronger a party is, the more resources you get out of that faction. So having really, really strong ones is actually a really strong thing in this game. Alright, 270 for this. That's pretty expensive. I'm trying to actually remember like what the Canadian equivalent of the FCC is, and I cannot remember what it is off the top of my head right now. Something that I remember looking into like a long time ago and then just forgot all of, which is kind of a shame. Because you should ideally kind of remember that kind of information. It's sort of something that kind of comes up in your daily life a lot, I'd imagine. Or I know it comes up a lot in my daily life. Alright, let's check a couple things here. Our new ruler here, Champion of the People, and Architectural Sense, so we can build stuff a little bit cheaper, a little bit faster. And we've got the energy infrastructure mission again, which is not... Alright, fine. We're going to run out of these to put down eventually. This planet is on the way, though, and it's also an agricultural world. I could definitely go for this one and just make this one into a energy generator-based district world. You generally want everything to be highly specialized in this game. Yeah, like the price of this went way up because of the way I think I
System
did
resources
things.
analyzed.
What I should probably actually do for the stream is like make it a late night one for people who are studying, because I generally am fairly low energy and just it's relaxing background noise for people who are like stressed out about something. I feel like that would be a niche that I would fulfill for streaming. It's not exactly one that doesn't have other people in it, but you know.
Updated.
Ah, shit. Ah, shit. Okay, which one is this again? You guys are... Oh, this is a Fallen Empire. Where is this? Okay, this is actually kind of a good thing if I make it out of here alive. Ideally. So the reason that this is kind of a good thing is that down here, this means that this area is locked off and is guaranteed to be mine. Oh good, factions have been founded. We've got our Military Officers Association. Founded by listening to your Don't Starve guides while going to bed when I was in school. Yeah, I mean, that is pretty much how my guides are like. Yeah. I'm actually getting back into Don't Starve, and I really like Hamlet. It's a pretty fun expansion for different types of players.
Anomalous readings detected.
It's a little bit more difficult to just sort of play it the way that I used to, but at the same time it's a lot closer to regular Don't Starve than Shipwrecked was. And Shipwrecked I kind of actually didn't like, just because it was different in a way that I thought was... Ah, shit. This is the problem with jumping in these areas that are near this. I'm almost 100% sure this is a Fallen Empire, though. But time to get a new replacement scientist, I guess. That really sucks. That one had Meticulous, and Meticulous is actually a really good trait. It's a really powerful one. Alright. Well, I know that this area is safe. I can't have another normal empire down here, and these guys aren't going to expand. So I probably focus on trying to get to here and building a station on that spot. And for this one, I could build it all the way up to here. This would be actually pretty okay. So I'm going to actually study here. And then I'm going to start swooping up towards this way. I should be able to actually build up this stuff way faster than I used to be able to. Because at this point in time, we're now getting 3.59 in our monthly gain there. I could probably do a little bit more with our factions here, but honestly speaking, conquest is a little bit out of the question at this point in time. This is why conquest or militarism is actually not that useful in the early game as far as being that sort of thing. Alright, so I have to get down to... Who are you guys? You guys are space amoebas. Or space whales? One of the two. Space whales. Okay, so Nod Factory. This is our factory that we got on that one planet that's producing alloys. People are working in it now because our population increased, and it looks like nothing wrong is happening just yet. But people are going to start disappearing mysteriously in a little bit. It's going to be a little bit awkward. And we've got the option to either stop that, or we can just let it continue. And the answer, obviously, to that is to just let it continue. Like, obviously. But, I'm hoping this isn't in the border of the Fallen Empire, and I'm also hoping that the Fallen Empire is not the Milisaurus Xenophobe faction, because if it is, then I'm never going to be able to get those crystals, which would really kind of suck. Alright. For now, let's just grab you. And let's, actually start surveying the stuff that's... no, I'm gonna figure out what's going this way. Because ideally we get to here. And I think this is about the limit of where we can grow to without overstretching ourselves too much. So like up here in the one direction, we've got here as a just bulwark against these guys in case they get fresh with us. Although I will have to probably build another station over here, so that's 4 that I'll have to get. It's a little bit many. Hopefully we'll be fine. Probably might want to just get gun batteries for now. I should be able to survive since these guys do still really like me, and they are protective of me even though they're overwhelmingly more powerful than I am. So even though they have got a casus belli against us, it's pretty unlikely that they'll attack us. Alright, let's go into a situation log here. Yeah, these are going to be a bit expensive. I get more influence, though, if I complete these. It's just too much time for me to actually realistically do this. It is biotech. Don't generate the last of the resources you'd eventually like to steal. Well, if they attack me, they don't actually lose any of the resources, unfortunately. Later game you can, but what they would do right now is just take over all my planets and land invasions. And because of the difficulty I'm on, they would definitely be able to do that. They would certainly be able to just take over all my stuff. Alright, so let's get at least one of these here. Yeah, later on in the game you can get super weapons that you can use to either... Like, there's a neutrino laser... Oh, shit. Okay, so I'm going to have to build up my military so I can deal with these guys. These guys are space amoebas. Okay, so I'm just going to have to survey stuff that's closer to home for a little while here. That's fine. But, oh, robot workers. Yeah. Yeah, late game, what are the super weapons? There's one that's a planet glasser that is sort of the default super weapon. There's the one that shoots this neutrino laser that like kills all organic life on a planet, but if your opponent is robotic, I think that they're immune to that. and there's a planet cracker that actually destroys the planet completely. I think the first and last one both destroy all the resources on the planet. Not 100% sure about that. Alright, probably not going to go any further than there, so... Alright. As far as the super weapons go, you don't really need any of them, though. It's not too hard to planetary invade even against the hardest AI, because they don't build enough ground forces. And if I'm totally honest, neither do players. I don't build ground forces at all. If you're losing the space war, usually it's kind of hopeless, because no matter how strong your planetary garrisons are, they can just bombard the ever-loving hell out of you from orbit until there's nothing left on the planet. And that doesn't destroy the resources, it just destroys the infrastructure, which is not the worst. Like, you can fresh colonize planets pretty fine in this game. I'm going to go ahead and colonize this thing here. Alright.
Construction finalized.
Take some time to build those stations, get ourselves a bit more influence there. I'm actually going to start doing a couple of these alien things here. 11 months for these.
Anomalous readings detected.
Here, I'm going to skip that for now. Oh, these guys are going to be one of the curators or the... I think this one's a trade one. Green, I think, is trade. What have they got here? The nice thing about this is I can actually still settle this planet. I don't have to care that they're there. Alright. Yeah, so they got plenty of room to expand up in this direction, and I'm fine with them doing that while I do my thing. And more planets. I'm finding a ton of arid desert worlds, which makes it really nice that I got an early migration treaty with these guys, because I can start settling these planets with people that are under my control that have the same ethics as I do, that are capable, like, they're adaptive, so they can colonize literally any of these planets that they want to. Whereas my guys can only colonize wet, moist sort of worlds, like continental or ocean or jungle.
Construction complete.
Alright, one more jump here. And I'm not even sure if I really care to get this. So the reason I would is that neutron stars are actually pretty good late game.
System resources analyzed.
So I'm going to start getting you to go back and do all of these quests here after this. So research anomalies. We'll survey that as well. Alright, we've established communications. I'm not sure if I did or if they did, but it's the High Trader. It's Zuracorp. Alright, so what did Zuracorp do? I cannot remember which each of the corporations does. Strategic resources, okay. These guys sell exotic gases. This actually is not a bad deal. The idea of getting some of that early on is actually pretty helpful. But for now, let's leave that be. How are we doing here? We got 826 minerals. I'm actually at the point where it's probably a good idea for me to build a bunch of extra ships. Even though our ships are garbage right now, let's just slime a bunch of them out so I can get enough strength to take on this group of space whales. Nope, nope. Beta Aliens is a different one. That's good. And we're just doing this to get the influence. Oh, right. Soul Station, cancel one of you. Now we've got a kick of influence.
Special inquiry concluded.
Void Raiders encountered. Ah, shit. I think that's these guys down here. Yeah, this isn't a Fallen Empire, this is the Void Raiders. Well, that's unfortunate. Huh. Only thing worse than a Dwemak is a Dwemak. No, do not ask what it is. Yeah. Will you stop that infernal shriek? I feel like this is a declaration of war. We would like to hire a leader. Can't afford any of them. Many smart Stima Zenlin warriors glad to fight for Glamakamula only need right incentive. I'm gonna get Great Khan later. It's gonna suck. Eventually what happens with these guys is that they earn enough from raiding and stuff like that to form a Great Khan, or a Khanate, or whatever you want to think of it as. Yeah, there's their borders. And once they do that, they become kind of ridiculous and rampage across the universe in a gigantic, terrifying sort of way. And the only way to stop it is to kill the Great Khan a couple times. And you get a really powerful...
Construction finalized.
Well, the space whales are actually not that bad. You can break through them pretty early.
Detected.
The space pirates are not actually... They're kind of a mixed thing. The thing about the space pirates is that they are really strong and are sort of a mid-game challenge that is designed to make things harder without being quite as much as a Crisis or a Fallen Empire Awakening. But you get a really good reward if they turn into the Great Khan and try to rampage through you, because if you kill them, you get this really powerful bonus. The space whales are actually not that bad. I just need a little bit of force to get that. They've got a fleet strength of 560. I've already got 343 without an admiral already, and I'm still getting more corvettes, so it won't be that bad for me to get there. Would love to be able to build more star bases.
Anomalous readings detected.
Leave that be for now. Yeah, these are the space whales actually. The other ones I think are the amoebas. I can never remember. Alright, we'll build a mine station over here. Oh, we're already building it. Okay. Well, I think we'll build an outpost here. Found some moats. Yeah, so it's weird because the more that these guys interact with other people, the faster they form the Great Khanates, because they get the resources to sort of do that. Ooh, these guys. But if I don't fortify it quickly enough, then yeah, they can catch you off guard and immediately kill you. But you've got some time. Like, you have got some time. This game is very, very slow. So you've got tons of... Ah, shit, what was the button to do this? Nope, that was not it. Okay, well, let's do that. There's a button sequence that you use to, like, insert something into your already existing whatever, but... Alright.
Construction complete.
Queue of orders, that's what it is. Alright. So what I'm probably going to be doing next in Unity is actually going down the diplomacy tree and seeing if I can form a federation.
Construction finalized.
The reason that they probably won't necessarily join us that enthusiastically or at all is because we are so much weaker than they are. But that shouldn't automatically kill our chance of getting a federation with them. So hopefully that's something that we'll be able to deal with. And a federation is also a pretty good bulwark against these pirates here.
Scientific progress attained.
They will eventually try to murder me. Okay, I'm gonna go with more computing bonuses since that's what we got.
Anomalous readings detected.
Let's leave that be. We've got one person who specializes in doing those. Alright, so we got an asteroid heading towards one of our planets. This is a really weird event, which is really easy to deal with. I don't 100% know...
inquiry concluded.
Don't 100% know why this event happens, because it's such a lame one, because this stupid asteroid sighting just gets wasted by your station 9 times out of 10. Like, sometimes you need to actually have other forces, but a lot of the time you can leave it sort of be. Let's see. Where am I going to have to put our border here? Probably here. It's going to be a bit vulnerable, but... Well, I can actually... They don't expand either, so I could build out to all these other ones and just not have some of those plants fortified. Because I don't need to fortify everything, strictly speaking.
System resources analyzed.
Alright, let's blow up a stupid asteroid, get like 1,000... You guys not going to attack the asteroid here? There we go. I think I get like 1,000 minerals out of destroying this. It's relatively straightforward one unless you've got your fleet positioned somewhere bizarre or you've mothballed your entire fleet or something. Alright. Yeah, 925 minerals for that. Which is actually a pretty good windfall in the early game. It's actually a pretty good amount to get any point in the game. Alright, let's actually make sure that we're also fulfilling our job here, because I think we had to build one more of these. Yep. We've got 4 years to do it. Not too bad. Another desert world. Our ally up here has got all of the good worlds in my sectors, and I do not like that. Just nothing but deserts. Like, it's so lucky that they're adaptable and that I've got them on my border and that they got a migration treaty.
Finalized.
But it would have been nicer if I just had continental worlds. Like, that would have probably been a little bit better. Alright. Head up to here, head up to here. And I should double check what these anomalies are, actually. Runes, I don't think that was too special. Too angled, that one I don't think was too special either. For archaeological dig sites, there's a couple that can fundamentally change the way you play your game. There's one that gives you access to this powerful psionic artifact that makes it so that you can play the game very, very differently. Which is kind of a nice thing in a certain way. Alright, this is the plan. I feel like we go for an alloy foundry. So I didn't get a second one there or anything like that, so go ahead and get that.
Construction complete.
Alright. And
anomalous readings detected.
Hopefully we can keep expanding out for a little bit longer, but I would love to find some more factions. The only one we've encountered that's actually a legitimate faction is this one, and hopefully there's not going to be a ton of tension between us because we're both the same sort of alignment there. Alright, we can get up to 4 starbase capacity now, so I can actually start building these up here. Let's go ahead and do that. Fortify our border there, since we know we're going to have one on that side. If we federate, I probably don't need them as badly. Alright, let's actually get that done. Ah, geez, this is going to be a slow burn. Alright, let's hit diplomacy, and we're going to want to go to federation, which I might have trouble with. I might not be able to actually do this. Just because they're so much stronger than I am, but this is what we build more ships for. If we get up to close enough to their difficulty... Ooh, an ocean world. Ooh, a 25 ocean world. Bloody finally, something that isn't for these guys. Alright. Robotic assembly plants in 8 more months. It's going to be pretty okay. I don't have a ton of space for those just yet. This is going to have to... Actually, I could cancel this. I'm going to cancel that for now, and we'll wait till we can build those robot foundries. So that's going to be much more powerful. Alright, we're up to 496 there. And if we add an admiral, how much are we going to have? I've got enough to actually buy an admiral off these guys. It's 2,000 for one of them, but they're a lot stronger than our default ones. And that will make those guys potentially more likely to go on a rampage, so probably not the most responsible idea. Also, it's a lot of money, so we'll just check what we got here. Weapon range 10%, or 20% I mean, or leader lifespan. I guess we'll go with the weapon range. None of these are my favorite type of bonus there. It's weapon range again. Reroll into the same thing. That's always, isn't that always how it goes?
Construction
They do increase like your fire rate and stuff like that, though, regardless. So having an admiral in your fleet is kind of important.
anomalous readings detected.
Can I make friends with space pirates? Not this one. There's different types of space pirates, and one of them you can sort of ask them to build you ships and stuff like that, and you can sort of get them to attack other people for you. But it's not necessarily the easiest or safest or sanest way to do things, because they will still eventually attack you. So it's not necessarily... They're not good allies, is how I would put it, I guess. But they can be made into something similar to one. You can't use the standard diplomacy on them, though. They ignore that sort of thing. Alright, so we're going to go for those robot plants there.
Construction finalized.
If you're wondering why we were calling our playthrough Automated Luxury Gay Space Communism, it's because we are definitely going for the automated part at the very least. The rest of it, not so much, because like we're still an authoritarian dictator that tells people where to build stuff and when, for some reason. Yeah, I'm trying to remember what the name of the pirates that you can become like fairly okay friends with is, but it's not these guys. Alright, energy credits, basic combat rolls. Let's do that one, because that's also computing. Just have to try and pay attention to my sort of abilities there. Alright, let's get admin cap. We're a little bit over still. That's kind of like communism. Yeah, I guess it is in the sense that like a lot of the real world ones did follow that sort of centralized planning. But if you're sort of following like Marxist ones, you're not actually supposed to have the state control that. You're supposed to have like individual communes do that, which is impossible to model in a game like this. So it is of a certain sort. I guess it depends on what the abstraction of this is, because like it's supposed to be a democracy, but like it's a democracy where like the player can just overrule the entire democracy whenever the hell they want. So I'm not sure you could call that a real democracy.
Construction finalized.
Yeah, games like this really can't handle that kind of thing properly, I don't think. Alright, so I think we build up another station here, but yeah, we'll build it here. This is going to be the last one that I can build for a while here. I can't even build it yet because I don't have enough resources.
Planetary worksite established.
It's not necessarily like the difference between like the what happens and what's in the books, because there were actually smaller groups that were that kind of commune, and they did function for a while until the government came and beat the crap out of them. But I mean, you know, that sort of thing can happen sometimes. Yeah, it's why do I have 3 construct? Did I accidentally build a construction ship? Shit. Okay, well, whatever. But, yeah, I mean, as far as, like, the type that I'm going for here, it's actually the kind that's drawn from Star Trek, which is, like, for some reason, people just decided to declare war on each other, and then aliens came and turned everyone communist, which is also posadism, but, let's not probably talk about that political theory too much, because I don't think it's a real political theory. I'm not sure that, like, aliens are going to come and force us to be, like, communist is a good ideological theory to base anything off of, but that is Star Trek. That is actually how Star Trek works. Lost in space. Okay, derelict spaceship thing here. Okay, so this, I think, has a chance of instantly blowing up a research ship and killing everyone aboard. Actually, the aliens that turned everyone communist in Star Trek are the Vulcans, and they became their friends. Like, they came down and gave them a bunch of, like, technology and told them to stop fighting each other and to become post-scarcity. Okay, we gained 150 of that. Now, the one that unites people against, like, a common enemy sort of thing is more like, what's that movie? Crap, I can't remember right off the top of my... Well, it's more like Starship Troopers for one thing, but, even more so, Stargate. That's the one I feel like kind of fits that description. Although they fight against each other quite a lot in Stargate, now I think about it. Huh, there's Ro near us, that's interesting. Yeah, so, like, the backstory of Star Trek that they don't really necessarily they do talk about a little bit is that like Earth is going to the sort of war, World War III sort of thing, which becomes nuclear and like ravages most of the planet, resulting in almost everybody being dead. But then during the sort of post-apocalyptic phase, there's this brilliant scientist who I cannot remember the name of. He's actually like the main focus of that movie with Picard and Kirk, and I cannot remember the name of that movie. But he's the guy that creates this FTL drive. And when the Vulcans pick up the signal from the FTL drive, they figure that humanity is advanced enough to join the Federation sort of thing. Which is, like, weird. I've never really thought that that was a great way for... It was fine. It was fine. I'm not actually a big Star Trek fan. I just know a lot of, like, random crap about it for no good reason. Alright, let's build an outpost over here. Yeah, I've actually always been way more of a Star Wars fan as opposed to Star Trek, though, so... It's because they would take away my nerd card if, They would take away my nerd card if I didn't know at least that much about Star Trek. Although they'll probably take my nerd card away just because I can't remember the name of anything right now. I think that would be relatively fair. Alright, let's head you guys out there, and it looks like it's safe to just slip in down here. You won't hold it against me, yeah. I don't think it's actually a case of, like, which is better in this case. I think the problem with Star Trek is that, because it was a serialized TV show, you end up with a lot of, like, filler and dead episodes that are really boring, whereas Star Wars was always much more focused. It's focused in threes. Like, if you try to take all 9 movies as kind of a whole, it's kind of a mess, actually, but each individual trilogy is usually fairly tightly focused within itself and is very consistent within itself, and I sort of think that that allows them much better production values, which makes it sort of easier to watch, whereas Star Trek is a real mess if you try to watch even, like, one series of it. Alright, so we got a miner mandate here. We have to build 4 mining stations, which is a bit unfortunate. Let's just build some there. I think we will build out to here, just so I can get access to this, this thing here. Yeah, I think it fragmented the fan base. Personally, I actually really liked the Abrams movies. They weren't necessarily like anything brilliant or anything. They're not really supposed to be. I think they were just supposed to be ones that were more fun to watch with a lot of callbacks to previous stuff and stuff like that. The one thing I did like about the original like Star Trek was that like it was one of those ones that was fairly willing to just sort of put its ideas on its sleeve, as opposed to a lot of other ones which were kind of afraid to have an opinion about anything.
Construction finalized.
Because I'm okay with watching things that have opinions that I thoroughly disagree with, so long as they actually have an opinion is more interesting. Because it opens the pathway for having discussions about those ideas. Whereas if you've sort of decided that you're just not going to talk about anything political, then it's kind of more boring to me. But at the same time. Alright. Well, I think we're actually starting to do that thing that I said I probably shouldn't do, which is sprawling out a little bit wider. I really need to, but this will probably be fine. I'm probably not going to die because of this. The thing about sprawling out more is that it means that you're not building ships, because you're using all of your stuff on like dockyards and other things like that. But I would also really like to get my admin cap down a little bit, but I wanted those robots really badly. Let's do that real quick. Make sure that we're still getting all this stuff. Actually, one of the things that happened because of this is that, like, because of COVID, is that I didn't get a chance to watch the last Star Wars movie, which I really want to, but it's one of those things. I usually go to like discount movie theaters like way after the movie's sort
Special
of
inquiry
been out for a
concluded.
while because I don't really like watching movies all that much in theaters, but or at least not packed theaters. I'm not a huge fan of like packed theaters or anything like that. I'm very, very, I guess, like antisocial or whatever the hell, but alright, so we technically have enough to beat these space amoebas, and it might be a good idea for me to go do that so I can start exploring again, but we still got a bit of exploration going on here. Which, I think we keep ourselves contained behind those guys for a little bit, and then we'll burst out once we've got that ready. Alright, I had an ocean world here that's 25. Is there anything on here? Fuming bogs. And it's a pretty good minor one as well. Oh, we've met some authoritarian materialists. Alright, well... Where are they? What? How did we meet these guys? They're... interesting. Like, halfway across the galaxy. If they manage to have enough technology to make it out here really easily, then that might be trouble, but... I think mixed reviews is actually pretty much standard for Star Wars because, like, The Phantom Menace and stuff like that, the prequel trilogy, had, like, all, like, negative to mixed reviews, and it had a bunch of positive reviews as well. It was always very controversial. And even, like, the only one that was originally just universally loved was A New Hope. And everything after that's been controversial. It's a series that's been very polarizing. It's kind of amazing, actually. So, I think that that does follow that sort of tradition of Star Wars, but just as a person who's been able to enjoy all of them, no matter which ones we're talking about, I don't think I'm going to have any problem, like, just enjoying the newest one, even though I do understand, like, why there's a bunch of controversy about it. I understand that, like, why there's people who are unhappy about it. So, you know, I probably am not going to be one of the ones that would be unhappy with the way that it turned out. I doubt that very much, but it's possible. It is possible that I would be disappointed in it. I think most of the people who disliked it, Rise of Skywalker, were also people who disliked Episode 2 of the trilogy.
Construction finalized.
For a multitude of reasons, really, but I think if you didn't like the first two parts of it, you're probably not going to like this newest one either. Alright, let's see if we can form a federation here, or if I'm not going to be able to. Like, one of the things that I have about Star Wars that's very, very different from, I think, a lot of other people, is that I've never really gone into Star Wars thinking that these are, like, technically... I never thought they were masterfully constructed movies. And, like, because of that, it made it much, much easier for me to really... Oh, is there another... This guy's a pacifist, though. Yeah, it made it much easier for me to, like, just watch them as sort of what they were, which, to me, was always, like, it's schlock. Like, it's kind of a really cheap, cheesy kind of movie. It's not really something that's super, super serious or, like, had amazing plot. Like, the plot is really, really simple and stuff like that. It's a good movie. It's a good movie, but it's not a masterpiece or anything like that. And because of that, I was always able to just watch it like it was a kind of silly, fun movie, which was something that really helped. Alright. So we've managed to form a federation successfully. I would love to get these guys invited into it, but we'll have to wait for later for that. Now that we are in a federation with these guys, I don't actually need to keep talking with them, though, so we can stop improving relationships and we can improve relationships with these guys instead, and see if we can pull these guys into our federation. Yeah, to me, like, the ones that... I've never thought that any sci-fi was actually built, like, as a sort of really super serious kind of thing. They tended to avoid that. And Star Wars, I think, sort of kept that tradition. I don't actually know what made it so different from, like, Flash Gordon or something like that, because no one talks about Flash Gordon. Or Lost in Space, or, like, lots of other things like that. I need to adjust this a little bit. Let's Session type, let's do random. Okay. And we'll see if that brings us into a positive experience eventually. Yeah, we're gaining a 1.5 due to cohesion, so this is going to let us get to a positive experience pretty quickly here. Yeah, I don't know. I should actually marathon Star Wars again, because I've done that a couple times, but it used to only be you'd only have to marathon 3 movies, and now you have to marathon, then you had to marathon 6 movies, now you have to marathon like 9 movies and like an entire 3-season cartoon or whatever. No, I'm just kidding. I wouldn't include those in that kind of marathon. But they've got a lot of content now. I don't know. Alright, so I do have to keep an eye out on how many robots I'm assembling. The reason for that is that if I get too many robots, I do end up in a sort of weird position where I'm not going to have enough work for them to do, because they can only do agricultural or mining jobs, so I've got to sort of watch out for that. You can sort of go into your populations here and see that you've got like a roboticist, but you've also got down here a robot factory worker in the farms, and that's about it. Alright, getting some more research agreements out there. So, wondering when we're going to end up with like our Federation fleet, because that should theoretically be something that happens. It's looking like there's actually a lot of space here for me to expand to if I really wanted to. Which is a little bit weird.
Attained.
Alright, let's start getting some weapons techs here. Yeah, so if you go for the basic robots, you don't get the robots uprising crisis, or you're not particularly likely to.
Construction complete.
And if it does happen, it'll probably happen in someone else's empire. The robots that you build with this level of AI are like really, it's basically the kind of robots that we have in the real world, like that manufacture cars where they've just been hooked up to a computer and you tell them what to do and they repeatedly do those tasks. It's once you get to synthetic intelligence that you have a chance of getting a robot uprising. And I probably will be going synthetic intelligence in this game, which means I'll probably have a robot uprising, but yeah, it's as far as the disasters in this campaign goes, like, it's not the worst. One, there are worse things to happen than a robot uprising. It's kind of weird because they're sort of mutually exclusive, so if one disaster happens, you don't get the other disasters. So it's actually fine if that one... Well, there's one exception. If you're playing Psionic and you go for a certain path, you can end the world, and that doesn't count.
Construction complete.
Yeah, that one's a little bit weird. I think I need another science... I need another science ship. I don't have enough exploration right now. I don't want the gas refineries. Let's get the strike crafts.
Construction complete.
What have we seen here? Volton Colony. Yeah, I think the weird thing about the... Well, the one thing about the robot uprising is that it does result in some attacks against your ground forces. And like I said, no one builds ground forces in this game. So you do end up with that conundrum. There is a hotkey to insert an order into the start of your orders queue, and I do not remember what the hell that hotkey is. Oh well. Just means I'm going to get arthritis faster. Alright, so... This whole area is probably something I could expand to if I rushed it. But I'm not sure if that's sensible, and then I would also have to rush down to, like, here, probably. But we're probably going to federate with these guys anyway. Okay.
System resources analyzed.
Let's see, I can't remove any of these without tech. It's unfortunate. You generally want to have like the same ratio of like jobs and housing available when you're looking at your planets. Not always possible, but generally possible. Oh, I forgot to do something important here. I'm supposed to remove these sprawling slums here to get an extra population.
Special inquiry.
Could have done that earlier. Alright, more Voltum artifacts. I haven't found as many archaeological dig sites as I would have wanted to. Speaking of, there's another one. Ah, down here. Okay. Which one is this one, actually? Asteroid Blast Door. Found yet another one. Wait, are there two down here? No. Where's the other one, then? Oh, someone else must have found one. It's probably, yeah, one up here. Okay, open borders with the Kadashi Union. I'm wondering if I could get these guys to join me in my Federation soon. Let's see here. They're opposed to this because they don't like wars of aggression. We seem like we could actually get above that if we get enough of enough diplomacy on them, though. So
Scientific progress attained.
let's get that. And I probably need to get this ability to clear tile blockers. Although I do need more stations as well. We'll build this one first. Try and stop early pirates. Alright, and we have got a fleet heading out this way. Hopefully they'll be able to win against that stuff. Mathematically they should. I probably want to buy some alloys, just because we're spending a lot on robots. I don't need this much food. Let's sell 5,000 of that. Selling grain
System
away while your
resources
own people
analyzed.
starve. Pretty traditional. Alright. So we'll get a science ship. Hopefully this will be fine.
Construction finalized.
There's my printer going off, just randomly. I swear, I've got like a haunted printer or something like that. Alright, so, here we go. A bit of a fight against these space
Hostile
amoebas.
reactionaries engaged.
And these guys give me some interesting bonuses. We can get an evasion boost, which makes our light ships a little bit more effective. And we can also use this to get some other little bonuses. They're pretty weak, but they're pretty easy to kill early game, so that's sort of why they're weak. Alright, we got the big one. And we didn't lose too many ships. Alright. Let's see what we got for a new scientist here. Oh, lifespan. So pretty bad, bad scientists here. How come I can't survey? Research projects and system, and survey. Alright, perfect. Automated shipyard. Okay, this one does is actually gives us a quite powerful. So I'm sort of irritated by this because the automated shipyard gives you a really powerful cruiser or really powerful type of ship there, and after that it just disintegrates. But so you get one powerful ship, and I just got into a fight with something where it would have been really nice to have had an extra ship. Oh well, especially because it's quite powerful. It's much more advanced than you can get in the early game. There's also a chance that I fail, though, and just get nothing, so... I think actually if you fail you get a little bit of something, but... now I think about it. Alright. There's a chance that this friendly guy decides to go over here and colonize, because I don't think there's the standard friction for doing that. And I kind of don't care if he does, if I'm totally honest. I have done an absolutely atrocious job. Oh, yeah, got a different thing there. Oh, here's where this starts kicking off. So yeah, the pirates are starting to ask me for shit. So I have to give them either minerals, energy, or food. Right now, it's probably for the best for me to give them actually minerals, since we're gaining that fastest and I'm not spending it right now. So
Construction finalized.
that'll be fine, I guess. Really wish I could clear some of this off. Okay.
Anomalous readings detected.
Well, actually, yeah, I'm not entirely sure what I should be doing right now other than hoping for the best here. I've kind of got this point where I'm sort of waiting on things happening as opposed to doing anything super proactive. So we'll research this debris first, and then after that I'll hit this on
Special
Automated
inquiry
Explorer.
concluded.
And yeah, so we did manage to completely build a new ship there. This one, in this case, looks like it's 2 destroyers. And they're the Dark Wanderer class, so they've got tier 4 lasers, whereas ours are tier 2s. And then we've got an antimatter missile, which is a tier 3 missile. We don't have any missiles, and then a barrier point defense, which is a bit above ours. So yeah, just generally speaking, a lot stronger than what we would normally have access to. There's this 1 or 2 ships. Oh no, this is just 1. But it's a fairly advanced one.
Surplus analyzed.
Alright, regenerative hull tissue, amoeba breeding program, and society research. So, all lovely stuff. The amoeba breeding program is kind of weird. It's not the weakest of the things that you can get, but it's not that powerful. Be nice if they would make it a little bit more powerful than standard carrier stuff. Although early game, it's a little bit more powerful. Oh yeah, they went and colonized that. It's a little bit weird for them to do that because they're not.
Readings detected.
They don't naturally live in that environment. But where's my other science ships? Oh, Xeno Justice Network. I think those are probably the Fanatic, or not Fanatic, but I think that's the Xenophile faction. Since we're in a federation, they should actually be fairly friendly to us. They should be fairly influential. But look here, Xeno Justice. Oh, there. We need to set it to no purges, multicultural society, which we should have soon. Have to have 4 unique species. Have to set it to all refugees welcome, which I'm actually okay with. Purge prohibited. And what this is going to do is it's going to give us more. There we go. It's going to give us a little bit more influence if we set it to our policies and rules to make it so that these guys like us more. We need a rivalry for these guys to be happy, and we need to be in a military hegemony. Like, the militarists are hard to make happy in the early game. Enclaves Incorporated. That's just not going to happen for us. Multicultural society. Gravity Crush. Alright, fine. I think we're doing okay, though. Federation Association offer, that's fine. Could form a commercial pact with these guys. Hoping that I can get these guys in association status eventually.
Transmission incoming. Discourse anticipated.
Sure, we'll agree to that. That's fine. Okay. Well, should probably get our science ship from over here to actually start exploring over here. I'm gonna get that done. Switch out. Oh no. Damn it. Okay, never mind. Have to keep researching anomalies here.
Incoming. Discourse anticipated.
Oh, looks like those guys invited them for us.
Detected.
Leave that for now. We always want the person who specializes in anomalies to be doing anomalies.
Discourse anticipated.
Oh, jeez. Okay, so they're overwhelmingly more powerful than I am, but that's fine. They're pacifists, but regardless. Okay, so let's just hit up that.
System resources analyzed.
So things are starting to speed up, it feels like. What is this, actually? Robot debris. Okay, that's not that important.
Together
Trying to do
we will
too many
build a
digs
brighter
is
future.
just not a smart idea, but it is something I do. Alright. Well, I feel like things are going relatively okay here so far, but... going to have to figure out what to do with this planet, and I think what I'm going to end up doing here is making it into an administrative planet, it looks like. It's not the best kind of planet, but it is a viable one. I'm going to go ahead and actually cheese this one out just a little bit too. Actually, I don't have authority yet.
Our research has progressed.
I have to wait till they've got enough police. Alright, Starhold or Destroyers. I'm going to go with Destroyers first. Even though I need the stations for defense, it's not that important. Alright, robots. Wait, where'd my robots go? They're there. Alphabetical. Hard to forget that it's just in a regular alphabetical order, but, you know. Alright, since I haven't grown out all that quickly lately, I can probably build some relatively superfluous outposts right now. And this one sort of loops around, so if I get to here, that's actually kind of the ideal spot for us. Oh, where are you going? No, I want you up here. So we'll have one explorer down in this zone, and the other one's... what have you got here? Paranoid. Huh. Okay. So, the nice thing at this point is that we are growing in population real fast. We're keeping our economy relatively stable. We're going down in energy, though, pretty fast. I need to think about how I'm going to deal with that. Probably this planet will help. All these robot assembly manufacturers are probably killing us as far as upkeep goes.
System resources analyzed.
And our Empire Sprawl's not helping us at all, but that's fine. Alright, so at this point in time, I've got a couple options. I've got the ability to continue on with diplomacy, but I've already formed a federation, which is kind of what we were here for. I could also go into either prosperity or discovery, because I'm not really looking at the ascension perks just yet. So I think what we're going to do is actually go into discovery, try and get our science up for a little bit here. Make so that we can explore a little bit faster, because our exploration's been real slow this game.
Construction finalized.
Okay. Well, yeah, I haven't gotten anyone declaring war on me, and that is kind of surprising on this difficulty. There's no way in hell I make it to this little corner here, which is something I kind of wanted to do. But I think we're going to go to the Curator Order, we're going to talk to them, ask them to aid us in our research. We'll be paying a lot of money for that. I could probably also afford the Artist Troops. Probably should have done this a little bit earlier. Mission an art piece, is that the right one? Patron. Yeah, so this will give us an extra 10% unity as well. And small chance that they just sort of steal stuff from us, so that's less than ideal. Alright, how are we doing? Alright. Seems like we're doing okay. I've had this game like set on fast speed because if I don't have it set on fast speed like the entire time, it's way too slow. Which is not ideal because things happen a little bit faster than I can easily react to them just because there's so many things I have to pay attention to. But at the same time, like it should be something that you can manage. Like normally I would also spend way more time paused because I am mostly only doing it so our science ships don't zip off into the far corners of the galaxy while we're trying to get them to do a mission or something like that. I'm wondering if I should get another science vessel. I almost feel like I want to. They're still all crap scientists here. Sort of have to wait for all the old ones to like basically die off before you go for them. Alright. Our Unity gain right now is still pretty low. It's only gone up to 28. I think it's partly because we were building all these robot sectors. One of the things that happens is that you build those instead of hollow things, and that slows down that a bit. Wait, what? Sudden alien species just popped up in our home sector, which is apparently not true. Yeah, so the point of Unity is that it's basically your culture resource. It gives you access to these tradition bonuses. It's basically your additional tech slot. So if you've played something like, say, if you played Beyond Earth or Civilization, it's your culture tree, basically. The most important part of it, though, is not these things. These things are a bunch of fairly decent minor bonuses, depending on what you're doing. Federations is an exception in that it lets you get a federation. That's really important. Is that just like the... no, yeah. The one that makes it likely for your federation to fall apart is actually your cohesion. Oh, for your empire to fall apart, that's administration for Empire Sprawl. The most important part of Unity is actually getting the Ascension perks, which I sort of glossed over, but the first one that I got here is just Technological Ascendancy, which gives me plus 10% research speed, which is really sort of mediocre. The only reason that I get this is because technology is super important in this game, and it's an okay bonus in terms of technology, but also rare technologies appearing more often lets me get to synthetic life faster. But you also need to have your Ascension perks to actually play certain things. Like, pretty much every person is going to either play as a genetic modified species, a robotic species, or a psionic species. And the only way to do that is to play, if you want to go for engineered evolution, you need to have one of your Ascension perks and then evolutionary mastery. So you have to have an Ascension perk to get those. For robots, you would go the flesh is weak and then synthetic evolution, and for psionic, you'd go mind over matter into transcendence. So the most important thing is the ability to take those two perks. So for my game here, we're going to go with the flesh is weak and then synthetic evolution. And that makes it so that we can change our entire population to robots that are like way better than the current robots that we have. These would be fully sentient robots that are capable of fully organic lifestyle sort of things, because they've got real brain patterns, like in Soma, moved into a robot body. And then it also gives us plus 10% to our robot output, gives us an extra modification point to make our robots a little bit more powerful than normal. And it lets us make everyone into robots for 50% less money, so it makes it much cheaper. So that's sort of the most important thing about Unity. The last thing you can do with Unity is very late game. You gain an extra set of edicts that rely on your Unity. They don't exist here yet because I don't have them yet, but it's a really important sort of one to get.
Special inquiry concluded.
Well, to be fair, the Necrons didn't want to do it. They sort of wanted to do it.
Construction finalized.
The lore for them is that the K-10 actually sort of tricked them into doing it, where they were put into robot bodies but lost their free will. Whereas in this case, it's people doing it out of their own free will for themselves. So, although, again, it's not really because it's the government telling them that they're all going to get new shiny robot bodies, and if they don't want those, fuck you. So, I mean, it's not actually free will. It's Big Brother government telling you to get in your robot body, but it's a little different from the Necrons, but yeah, I mean, I can understand the sort of feeling of comparison there. Yeah, that's actually why in like the current edition of Warhammer, the Necrons have stopped being a universally evil faction. It's actually splintered off into different groups because they've managed to unchain themselves from the K-10. So you've now got a bunch of Necron enclaves that are of different alignments and different sort of moralities and stuff like that, which is kind of interesting, but I'm not necessarily entirely sure they needed to go that direction for that faction, because it's such a morally bleak setting anyway that I'm not necessarily sure that adding a moral shade of gray to a generically evil faction is necessarily... Like, you didn't really need to go that route, but I guess it's okay. It'd be kind of like if they started making Tyranids like some kind of more empathetic race or something like that. I don't know.
Finalized.
Let's see here. The Juvan Nation. Okay, so we need to go ahead and try and become a rival for these guys. Although I don't think I can actually declare a rivalry of these guys yet. Yeah, I haven't actually played the current edition of Warhammer. I wouldn't mind trying it, though. I play Eldar. From what I've heard, they've gotten like horribly nerfed this edition, so that's kind of disappointing, but whatever. Yeah, so these guys are sort of hedging in on an area here that's
System resources analyzed.
is kind of okay, in my opinion. Looks like these guys already have association status within our federation, which is actually kind of nice.
Construction complete.
Unless I'm looking at that wrong. I would like to get a couple of sectors up here, though, so I do need to sort of hurry it up and survey that stuff. Alright. So this one's
Special inquiry
important.
concluded.
Yeah, what is the current lore for Eldar? I don't think the current lore for Eldar's changed much, actually. Oh, well. They kind of have had, like, their own sort of broad following, and I think that the following for Eldar has traditionally been one that has not really liked their lore changing too much, because the only way their lore can change is for the worse. Although I think that there was like a big unification of various different craft worlds, yada yada. That's sort of not that unusual. I'd have to double check though. I go back to Warhammer 40k like from time to time just for the lore, but I'm actually more interested in Warhammer Fantasy, and their lore is dead because Age of Sigmar is terrible. Not because the mechanics are bad or anything like that, but just the storytelling was really bad. And then Archaon just randomly gets smacked by Grimgor because Grimgor is the best or something like that. And then everything like ends because nothing mattered. It was really dumb storytelling. All right. I'm gonna try and cut them off across here if I can.
Construction finalized.
And I feel secure doing that because they're pacifists. So the nice thing about being neighbors with people who, you know, aren't going to fight is that they will not blow you up, which is always a nice thing to have in your neighbors. Alright, let's build another colony ship
System
here.
resources analyzed. Construction complete.
Did I not build one for here? I thought I built one for here. Damn. Alright. Okay. Yeah, what time is it here? We've been playing this for not too long. I'll probably go for like another 45 minutes, maybe an hour, and then we'll probably call it an episode or a day for now. But I will be back next Wednesday at 12 o'clock Mountain Standard Time again. Just try and start working on doing a little bit of streaming, just because I think it's sort of more relaxing and fun than doing formal videos for this kind of game. I don't think that this kind of game does super well in standard videos, although there's probably like plenty of people who play this game a lot that would disagree with that.
System resources analyzed.
Now, one of the problems with the way I've sort of set this up is that these systems are all going to be very vulnerable when the Great Khan decides to start wrecking everything. And that's kind of fine. They can sort of wreck those and I'll reclaim them afterwards. If I wanted to stop them here, I'd have to build like 2 stations, which would not be that economical. Whereas if I build it up here, it's sort of like a linchpin station that kind of
Evading
blocks.
hostiles.
Ah, shit. What do we got here? Mining drones? I'm just a little too weak to fight those guys. Just a tiny bit. This planet over here, let's go ahead and build civilian industries and then upgrade this. Alright, more unity, more mandate fulfilled. Okay. I'm trying to remember, actually, now that you mentioned it. I don't think that there is actually a mechanic in this game for your empire just completely collapsing under the weight of your own incompetence, other than the fact that you'll end up in this sort of death spiral of all your resources sort of going kaput. Which, if you're not balancing your resources properly or doing something to keep that going, it can actually end up really bad in that sort of sense there. So, I guess it doesn't really need to actually collapse, like have a formal collapse mechanic, because it'll happen anyway. But yeah, it would be interesting if there were ways for planets to just splinter off and become their own sort of factions.
System resources analyzed.
Maybe there is, I've just never seen it if there is one. Maybe it's because I'm like too much of a pansy to like really piss off my citizenry, which is, I guess, a good trait rather than a bad one. Alright. Yeah, our administration is not doing super well here. I'd love to get that fixed up a bit. So I'm wondering what type of ships we really want to be focusing on. I've heard cruisers are probably the best type right now, but hard to say for sure. Yeah, it would be kind of nice if there was kind of an auto collapse feature in a certain way, because it might be interesting.
Complete.
But at the same time, it probably wouldn't ever come up, because the game's fairly easy to balance out all of your different stats. Like, it's not actually that hard, even on the hardest difficulty, to do that. But at the same time, like, it will probably be a little more frustrating in those moments, because there are points in this game where things just suddenly
Our research has progressed.
ridiculously swing in like some sort of weird way that you can't really deal with or cope with, that you would think would be manageable, but ends up taking like 10 years for you to fix like a problem that you accidentally set up there. Which is not ideal. Part of the problem is, like, you sort of wait until these planets get enough population to get another build slot, so you can't build things whenever you feel like you need them. You have to sort of have a lot of pre-planning, and that kind of sucks, but... Alright, let's build a starbase over here. Yeah, our alloy production is dropping pretty quickly. The reason that our alloy is dropping is because we're building so many robot populations. And that just consumes a ton of those resources. But the nice thing about this is population from robots does count towards this population growth here. This planet doesn't have any jobs for robots, I just realized. Gonna get a bunch of jobs for robots here. How many robots do we have on this planet?
Special inquiry concluded.
I don't think we have any. Okay, now we have one robot who's unemployed. I don't think they're unhappy when they're unemployed. Normally this game has like a problem like if you have unemployment, people are just unhappy about it, so... Alright, just have you go back here and start working on some mining stations. Okay. Just about at that point. Well, actually, what I probably need to do at this point in time is actually get rid of tile blockers.
System resources analyzed.
I feel as though I told someone to build a colony ship. Yeah, no, there it is. Okay, good. I was looking at the build queue and I was thinking it shouldn't have been done yet, but apparently it is done. Alright, let's get another one. Just constantly colonizing this game is just the way you play it. But it becomes, like, just dramatically more and more and more difficult to actually manage everything as your empire sprawls outwards and gets bigger. Like, they didn't need to add a penalty. It is torturous enough as it is to try and keep all of this bullshit under order here while you're doing this. Alright, were you manufacturing this? No. Alright, let's get that work done. Alright, let's actually go into our ship designer here. Try and figure out how we want to be building our ships. And now, the thing about the destroyer is that, realistically speaking, you're probably going to be using it to take out other smaller ships. So, like, the default was probably actually fine for now, but hopefully we get new weapon types in a little bit. We should be able to start researching them fairly soon. It's just that our tech has been delayed a bit.
Discourse seeding in progress.
Alright, let's check how many robots we have here. Looks like we got one robot population so far. You pay a lot of like upfront cost for robots in this game.
Construction finalized.
And Mural, I don't think this one's a Voltum one. Go ahead and do that anyway.
System resources analyzed.
Alright. We're out of alloys, but we could buy some more. Who's unemployed here? Got one specialist. They just have to demote themselves down to a standard job, though. That's fine. They must have immigrated. Lots of robots on this planet. They've got 3. I've got enough for 10 so far. You can sort of have like as many robots as you have worker positions, and after that you just decommission the robot production facility. Later on, once they get synthetic brains and stuff like that, you can basically have as many robots as you want. I'm getting so much influence, but I probably want to keep buying it until the birth of the galactic market, so I can guarantee that I'm the head of the galactic market. Alright, what's going on over here? I wonder where all the Continentals are, because, like... someone over here. Yeah, I have not spawned near very many Continental Worlds. I'm just gonna start researching with these guys.
System resources analyzed.
I'm gonna stop. I'm gonna completely stop investigating these other factions right now. It's just other research and technologies that I need to get through here. Okay.
Construction finalized.
Various research stations across our empire have detected subtle distortions in hyperspace. Reports similar will be tested. Special project joint effort to find what links these phenomena begins the flock of clouds event chain. Well, that sounds interesting. Oops. Right. Unfortunately, I need to get a science ship all the way over there. I might actually... You know what? I'm going to be better off just building one of these. Need to buy stuff here. Plenty of cash. Although our income is actually 0. A little bit disconcerting. Let's see, why would our... Let's just prioritize certain jobs here. Alright, and we'll also try and get more energy out of things that we're talking to.
Our research
That's fine.
has progressed.
Alright. Strength from small places, energy collected from jobs equals 5%, which is nice. Definitely go for the upgraded laser. If we can get tier 3 lasers, that's enough firepower for a while. This planet, I think, actually needs more jobs for robots. Okay, so we did get that. Let's go ahead and grab ourselves a new scientist. I don't care, they're all terrible. And you're going to go ahead and... Ah, shit. Okay. Going to do it this way. We're going to switch you two. Keep exploring. You. There. How to instantly teleport your scientists from one place to another. It's just bureaucratic reassignments. Alright, and you, I think, are done here, so let's head all the hell the way down here. And this level 10 down here is going to take like 10 years to finish anyway, so that'll be fun. Okay. How's Federation building going? Like you guys are a member of the association, right?
Special inquiry concluded.
Okay, whenever it says set it free, I have to read the text a lot more carefully than I normally would. Because I don't actually know what this particular one is. Okay, our investigation of the Aurora Light Cloud at center raised more questions than answers. Distinct tendrils of clouds form whenever we beam communication to our allies' research teams, but only then these pink and hazy vapors have been described as playful, skittering away from any ships which happens to approach. On our own, we are unable to discern any further meaning from these behaviors, but the Federal Galactic Power is expected to have more answers once every member's results are collated. Early theories propose to suggest these dimensional spanning entities somehow harmonize with our hyperspace communications bands. This accidental lure could keep it in place in order to further exploit the entity for study, or you could switch the frequencies in the hopes of dispersing it. Okay, so let's keep it here. I don't know. What the hell do you want from me? Alright. So we finished that. That's lovely. I think this is where I go ahead and start working on our excavation sites.
Construction complete.
Alright. The results of our findings have been collated. It seemed that every instance of barely sentient Aurora Cloud of our Federation's capital was, in fact, part of a single living entity. Sounds like a choice between studying more and trying to kill it. Yeah, it did sound like that, so I did try to study it more. The data we have is incomplete, but is enough to suggest we have encountered a gestalt being in gaseous form and adopted to dwelling in hyperspace. Okay. Appears to have wanted to reconstitute itself. Without a united effort on our part, some of these clouds have begun to lose cohesion and may no longer be able to rejoin. Oh, we've just... Apparently we've... This has actually killed it. That's unfortunate. Parts of the cloud which did reunite soon vanished in hyperspace. So we do get some extra physics information for the next few months, but yeah, that's unfortunate. Would have been nice to have tried the other one because I get the feeling like the other one would have caused it to finish forming into whatever it was going to be. But whatever it was forming was probably going to kill us, so there is that. Alright.
Discourse seeding in progress.
So these excavations are probably going to be pretty mediocre. I don't think we've gotten any of the ones that give us anything super amazing like a relic, which is really kind of what I want out of these situations, is relics, but let's go with another research lab there. More bureaucrats. Alright. Yeah, an Elder God or an Outer God or something like that from Cthulhu mythos or whatever does definitely sound like what they're sort of describing there.
Analyzed.
But it also could just be some sort of very advanced species or something like that. I don't know. Alright, build a mining platform on that. Should also be able to build a mining platform there. Where's my other construction ships? Yeah, you're kind of busy. Actually do this, because otherwise he's going to, and I kind of want to get access to this stuff. I like how these guys are creating these little cutoffs of themselves around me. Like, that's kind of annoying, but at the same time it's kind of fine since we're going to form like this big federation.
Construction complete.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't want to try to kill it necessarily either, although, like, I think that the unkillableness of things like Cthulhu kind of sounds a little bit more overstated than it really is. Like, you can give Cthulhu a concussion by ramming a boat into him, so it's not like he's that scary. It's one of those ones where, like, I think people have sort of built him up as being the unstoppable, this unstoppable force of nature that can never be killed by anybody, blah, 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 but I think even within their own mythos, there are supposed to be like even greater deities that could kill Cthulhu anyway. But all right, this is looking like a probably. Oh, that's Covfefe. That's a terrible system. Every time I find Covfefe, I've never not spawned near that system, and like it's just a horrible meme name system. Well, whatever.
Construction complete.
Well, I mean, yeah, like in an RPG, sort of like whatever, but by the time you got, like, if you pointed a planet killer at Cthulhu, like the Death Star, I kind of get the feeling that would do more than give him just, like, a concussion and knock him back under the waves for, like, another 1,000 years of sleep, really. Like, I kind of get the feeling, like, if you Death Starred Cthulhu, that might actually kill him. Or just otherwise Planet Cracker Cthulhu. That's my impression of that, though. Like, I'm sure there are other people, other nerds in the sort of nerdosphere that would debate that and be like, he definitely... Yeah, he turns into gas and comes back 1d4 rounds later. That is kind of what happens when he gets hit by the boat, but, like, the reality was he got hit by the boat and sank beneath the waves for another 1,000 years, so it's a little bit different.
Construction complete.
Is that the 5th edition version of Cthulhu that you're talking about? Because I remember in older editions he went away for a lot longer. Like, I haven't really played very much 5th edition. I remember in, like, 3.5, like, every deity could come back within, like, one round if they wanted to, if you killed them. So it wasn't just Cthulhu, every deity got to do that, but... 7E. Now you're just messing with... Oh, are you talking about 7th edition... Oh, okay, I think you mean like 7th edition Call of Cthulhu by Chaosium, that one. Okay, that's fair, yeah. Yeah, okay. Another Federation level? Okay, yeah, I haven't actually played that edition there. I wouldn't mind trying more Call of Cthulhu, but the D100 system is just janky. The only problem my understanding is that he actually is harder to kill in Chaosium's version. Maybe not.
System resources
because, like, your character in... yeah, he started actually is fairly killable in 5th edition. All the deities are fairly killable in D&D traditionally. Well, not traditionally. Like, ever since 3rd edition, it's possible to build a character that can kill a deity. Of pretty much any sort. Like, it's almost unfathomable to me that you'd be able to kill him in, the Call of Cthulhu role-playing game, just because, like, you're so weak in that game. Like, if you've got a shotgun, you're pretty much at the pinnacle of what you can be. Yeah, that's the difference between, like, D&D and Call of Cthulhu, because, like, in Call of Cthulhu, that's true, but in, like, D&D, you're basically you're also a disgusting monstrosity.
A brighter future.
Like, it's you versus a bunch of dragons, and you just absolutely lay waste to a bunch of dragons, just with your bare fists, because you can, or whatever. It's much more of that sort of power fantasy dynamic in D&D. Once you get to higher levels, obviously, if you're a low-level character, you're not going to be killing any gods or anything like that. Earlier, the Pulp Cthulhu add-on gives you a little bit of fighting chance. Huh. Yeah, I can understand why that might sort of do that. Call of Cthulhu is a weird series. I've actually never been as much of a fan of Call of Cthulhu as I could have been, but not necessarily because I don't like his books, it's because, like, I think August Derleth made them a lot more boring. Because it's supposed to be that sort of, like, the unknowable is what's sort of terrifying and blah, 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 but Like, August Derleth sort of just turned everything in Cthulhu into one gigantic nerd wiki, where it's like everyone knows everything about like Cthulhu and all of his buddies, and like how he's related to all of his family members. And here's the stats for these monsters, and it's just like, isn't this kind of kills like the whole point of Cthulhu? I don't know. So I blame August Derleth for the fact that I don't really like Call of Cthulhu as much as I maybe could, but that's pretty good. Okay, let's throw you into this one. That's gonna be just much, much better.
Construction finalized.
I think it depends on the type of nerd you are. Like, there's tons of people who are really nerdy and love just reading, like, fan wikis of stuff, and that's sort of the person that August Derleth, I think, was. Actually, my favorite member of that sort of realm of people who write Cthulhu mythos stories is Robert Chambers, and he came out before H.P. Lovecraft, but, like, even without that, the reason I liked his is because his stuff is not even necessarily tangible. Like, The King in Yellow is my favorite of the sort of Cthulhu mythos stories. And it was basically just about something which is completely unknowable, not because the being is so powerful that you can't comprehend it like Lovecraft's work, but because you don't actually have any way of knowing what exactly it is you're supposed to be trying to resist or fight against, because there's nothing to resist or fight against. It's just that there's something horribly wrong happening because of a thing that you don't perceive or whatever. Alright, there's the Voltum home system. Let's rush that, actually. But yeah, like, Cthulhu's works I thought were pretty good. I liked reading a lot of them. I just wish that people would stop remaking Shadows over Innsmouth over and over again, because every single video game about Cthulhu is actually about Dagon in Shadows over Innsmouth, like all of them. I don't know why. It's almost like it's the only story he ever wrote somehow, despite the fact that it's called, like, the Cthulhu mythos. Well. It's not a bad story either, it's just, it's the only story that people seem to know, which is really weird.
System resources analyzed.
Did I finish that? I did. I should have a fairly decent tech rate now, but kind of need a lot more. Oh well. Ultimate Observatory, why do we... Alright, they generally have more than enough. Alright. I'm going to redo this over and over again. Cthulhu actually does show up at the end of Call of Cthulhu, though. That's where I was talking about, like, he starts rising out of the deep, and they ram him with a steam engine, and he sort of discorporates into gas, where he goes back to sleep for another 1,000 years, but drives everybody who is near the event completely and, like, irrevocably insane. So it's kind of a Pyrrhic victory for mankind, but they do actually beat him by hitting him with a boat. So you can have Cthulhu sort of show up and waken and stuff like that, and it's not the worst thing in the world. It's close to the worst thing in the world. I think the one that you don't want to have waking up is... Oh man, what is the name of that guy? There's one who is like he's dreaming of all of reality, and because he dreams of reality, reality exists, so if he ever wakes up, it's like the mad god, and he's completely unsentient and insane. So, yeah, that's why reality's... Yeah, Azathoth, thank you. That is him. Yeah, that's the one where you definitely cannot really do anything about him, because he's reality, I guess? I don't know. Cthulhu waking up would be bad, but it is manageable. Like, Nyarlathotep even waking up and showing up at Earth is technically manageable-ish. I mean, I wouldn't want to be the one having the responsibility of dealing with that sort of shit, but, I mean, you could do something about it, potentially. Yeah, but that, again, that's more like Derleth's sort of work there, I think, rather than Lovecraft. lot of Derleth books sort of make it so that you can fight back against the horrors a little bit better than you can in other versions of it.
Construction finalized.
I like how my administration went up, which made the cost of this go up, which made it so that I couldn't get the thing that it said I could afford. God damn it. Okay, let's grab this before it goes away again. Alright. Yeah, I mean, Cthulhu is kind of fairly generic. They're all a little bit generic in Lovecraft's original sort of conception, because they were never really meant to be much more than plot devices in his works there. They weren't supposed to be super interesting in and of themselves to a certain degree.
Construction finalized.
Which I can kind of appreciate. Like, that's why he doesn't really repeat them all that often. It's because they weren't supposed to be that interesting. They were just, like, interesting sounding words and a bunch of crazy letters and stuff like that. Which worked out pretty well, I thought. Whereas I think Derleth was the one that really wanted them to have explainable, very human personalities, actually. What the hell is this thing? What the hell does perforate reality for powerful temporary combat advantages mean? What? Alright, that doesn't sound like a safe, sane, or consensual way to increase your combat abilities. What the hell? Perforate reality. Alright. Well, we'll do that later, I guess. Still encountering more aliens somehow. Galactic Council hasn't formed yet, which is interesting. Would have thought that would have showed up by now. Alright, let's see up. I need a couple more of those for a variety of things there. Right, so I can activate my relic, and what this will do is give us... Oops, shit, I accidentally hit the... I didn't... Well, now I know what this does. Holy shit. Adding the following effect. Weapons damage plus 40%. Holy crap.
System resources analyzed.
Yeah, well, a plus 40% very well could mean that I can just point my finger at an enemy ship and they explode, because that is a gigantic combat bonus. Like, defeating the Great Khan gives you a plus 20% combat bonus for his relic, which is half the size of this, and it causes an ethics shift, which you don't want, unless you want your ethics to change. So, like, this is actually ridiculously powerful. Like, I'm kind of impressed at how good that is. Oh, and there's a 5 stack of exotic gases there. Holy crap. Now, this isn't actually the best one. The best one is the Cybrex one.
System resources analyzed.
Whenever you click the Cybrex one, you get 5,000 alloys, but you also get a free ring rolled, which is sort of the most important part of the Cybrex. Let's go planetary FTL inhibitors.
Construction finalized.
Let's roll down here. This place needs to keep building civilian industries because we're still pretty low on those. But I would like it if my alloy plant started catching up a bit. Alright, well, it cost us 150 influence to hit the button that gave us plus 40% combat strength, which is really bad because I don't need that right now, and probably won't need it for a while, but it's probably fine. Alright, got an election coming up again. This is all fine here. I need to find more dig sites so I can get more relics so I can do the other part of the Voltum mystery here. I've got a couple dig sites. I've got a decent number of dig sites. It should be fine. These guys are probably going to get pissed off and kill me at some point in time. These guys look like they're just regular sort of faction. So I probably stop expanding out to here. But here's where I actually am going to micro this a little bit. I want to figure out what's in these systems here. These guys want tribute again. Minerals is again the best. If I keep giving them tribute, they'll keep getting stronger, and if they keep getting stronger, they will eventually murder me. But it's better if they eventually murder me than... it's better if they eventually murder me instead of if they murder me now, because if they murder me now, then they can't murder me later. Although it could be a good way of getting out of getting murdered later. Alright. I'm really hoping for another couple dig sites, though. Alright, what time is it? It's 2:17? I was thinking I would go until about 2:30, so we're probably going to wrap this up relatively soon, but honestly speaking, this worked out pretty well for just a sort of test. I mostly wanted to make sure that I could actually run this sort of stuff here and make sure that everything was going to work. And yeah, it seems to be working just fine. I don't see any major problems with what's going on here. But yeah, I'm glad some people stuck around for a little bit there. Okay. Yeah, if you're looking though for anyone who can tell you like how to play this game like really well or something like that, probably not the best choice for that sort of thing. I'm okay at this game, but definitely no master at it. So what I'm doing here, if you see someone, or if you're wondering how to play the game, I would definitely not really recommend doing it the exact same way that I am, because I am not necessarily that good at this game. But let's go ahead and just check here. Okay, we've got 5 robots. Our mandate is unfulfilled. That feels like, I always hate when that happens. Like, your person dies and they tell you failed at your mandate because they were only in office for like 2 days because they died. Alright, well, whatever. Let's figure out what I was doing here. Right, so I need to probably clear out some of these markers here. Let's get rid of that. 1 city district, we've got enough for 6 robots. Let's get enough for 7, or for 8 rather. And we also want to get rid of some of these blockers here.
System resources analyzed.
Okay. What do we get out of this one? Target from orbit. This is a new one, actually. This isn't one that I found, though, so there's no way in hell I'm getting that.
Attained.
Alright, star holds.
Construction finalized.
Gas extraction wells might be important since we're about to get a big deposit of that. I'm not going for the coil gun because we've got, like, gone for an energy weapon style build here, not necessarily out of intent, but because of a variety of factors. That's what we got. And we can start working on this thing. Alright, so who are you? First Admiral. Okay, so that's actually fine since we had a pretty crappy Admiral. Food growth. Okay, so we just have to grow one more... oh, actually, no, we're fine. We've got way more than that in terms of food production. Okay, so star holds. I need a crap ton of alloys for that to work, though. Let's just make sure that our populations, we got technicians as being important everywhere. So we are actually running out of money. Also, this will move anyone into a technician job if they're not a robot. Like, they'll automatically prioritize that, which is pretty good. Our generator world here in particular, I should probably put more on. Although they don't have enough population to really fill it in. Well, minus 10 energy is not that bad. Okay, so this one... Do I research that with a research ship, I think? Okay, I've gotten... there's no timer on that, so I'll just wait. Although that might come around and bite me in the ass later. Okay, things are looking pretty okay here. Deep sinkholes, I'd have to research to get rid of those, unfortunately. Okay.
Construction finalized.
Kind of wondering, like, when we get a Federation fleet, because I noticed we don't seem to have one spawning. Maybe they got it. Because they are the more powerful of the members. More Voltum stuff. What was this guy doing? That's strange. Maybe I was about to do some excavation or something like that. Who died? One of our scientists. One of our... I think that was our spare scientist. I don't think I have to worry about that. I keep a spare scientist sometimes so I don't have to rehire them, but I probably am better off getting rid of them because they do cost upkeep. It's like 2 upkeep per scientist. Let's just hold this station here.
Analyzed.
Try and get more energy out of all this. A lot of energy available here. A lot of science available as well. Actually, yeah, you know what? Do that first. That's a lot of research. Can I terraform this later? It's a broken world.
System resources analyzed.
Oh boy, more aliens. It's a hive mind. We pursue true equality, but not the, like, hive mind equality. Alright, there's an abandoned gateway somewhere, but...
Construction complete.
The abandoned gateways in this game are surprisingly kind of useless. So, probably not going to worry about that all that much.
Special inquiry
I like how these guys have
concluded.
got, like, multiple thousands, like, of fleet power. Just absolutely roll over me if they wanted to. Alright, let's just not mess with them for the time being.
Construction complete.
Throwing shadows, it's nothing too impressive there. Alright, that built, that should have boosted our science up by a decent amount. Alright, let's get another alloy foundry here. Our one world over here, this is a bureaucratic planet, I think. Kind of need to research the ways to chop through these things here. I could have sworn, oh, the active volcano is going away, but the other ones, the dangerous wildlife and dense jungle, I need to get rid of those. I haven't had people disappearing from the odd factory yet, which is weird. Maybe it's not going to happen this game. Maybe I'll be lucky and that's just not something that's in the books for me. I feel kind of skeptical that that's actually the case.
System
Alright.
resources analyzed.
Got that fully excavated. Fate uncovered. So, I didn't really read through this, but I'll read through it sort of all at once now that we've finished it, and then we'll probably call it about an episode. Oops. So, yeah, you can go back to the very beginning. Ruins cover Bajal Prime, but oddly the blast patterns seem to indicate that vast nuclear explosions occurred beneath the surface rather than from atmospheric or orbital bombardment. This warrants further investigation, but it will require an archaeological dig to reveal what happened here. The devastation is almost total, but a few scattered records have survived. It seems that people of Bajal Prime were obsessed with the idea that aliens are observing them. Frequent reports of unidentified flying objects, animal mutations, and abductions drove the planet into a frenzy. In reaction, countless resources reported into vast detection arrays, anti-spacecraft defenses, and underground shelters to protect the population. So, basically, they're just a bunch of crazed preppers who nuked themselves from below ground. More details have assembled from scattered records we have recovered. As an ever-increasing percentage of planetary resources reported into anti-UFO measures without any noticeable success, their economy and society began to collapse. Brownouts and food shortages were endemic. Most fields of technology stagnated, and a deep sense of hopelessness prevailed at every level of society. Scattered references have been found to some kind of ultimate shield, which became increasingly common as reports about general situations of Bajal Prime got worse. This is what happens if you're a prepper, kids. The discovery of a partially preserved databank in a hardened military bunker has revealed the sad fate of Bajal Prime. Faced with a general economic collapse which would have led to the end of their anti-UFO measures, the rulers of Bajal Prime activated their ultimate shield. However, this was not a shield to protect Bajal Prime. Rather, it was the complete nuclear annihilation of the population infrastructure to ensure that neither could be taken by alien invaders. The decision was apparently spurred on by the discovery of an alien signal coming from Bajal 4A. Sorry. Okay. It looks like we can actually now check out Bajal 4A, though. And we might reveal an additional dig site. So we'll go ahead and hit the research on that. Now, I'm not reading every single one of these events because there's a shit ton in this game. There's just way too many for that to be really feasible. But I think the archaeology digs, since they tell a cohesive sort of full story, are a little bit more interesting to go through. So that's why I went through that one. But in any event, though, we're probably going to call this one an episode at about this point in time here. What's going on here? Oh, I can't do that until I got the ability to do the gas. So, yeah, anyway, thank you guys for tuning into this little impromptu stream here. I know I didn't give very much warning ahead of time, but like I said, mostly here to see if the setup worked, make sure that everything was running okay, but in any event there, I hope you guys found this one enjoyable, and of course, as always, I hope to see you guys all next time.